here, and I have a layout for you for the love of crafting and sharing YouTube collaboration. It happens on the 20th of every month, and this month we are sharing our love of sketches. So you saw the sketch that I'm using at the beginning of the video. It's just a sketch I found on Pinterest, and when you click on it, it brings you to the Scrapbook blog, which is a French blog that I don't actually think is up and running anymore. I think the last entry that I could find was maybe from 2016, but I'll go ahead and link it down below anyways, because they did have some really fun, unique sketches. And I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for different ideas and different sources for my sketches. So the link will be down there for you. I just don't think that they're doing any current content anymore. And the reason that I kind of gravitated to this particular sketch is because I felt like it was a really good sketch to use up scraps. And I'm working hard at putting a big dent into my Wild Whisper stash that I have. That's my kit this month for How to Kill a Kit with Style. And I'm really trying to use it all up so I can make some space for their new stuff coming out in April. And I thought that this was just a really fun way to maybe mix and match a bunch of the scraps that I have. Lots of the papers that I have left aren't full papers, so I felt like this was a good way to kind of utilize some of those. And I love that their collections work really well together. So you'll see here in a second that I'm able to kind of flip through all of the papers that I have and pick out papers that kind of follow a general color scheme from multiple collections. But I think that this type of layout would be great if you have a whole bunch of border strips that you're hanging onto, or just those little teeny tiny scraps of paper that you might be holding on to, because I bet you could get a couple banners out of, even something that's only an inch or two. So I just really liked this. I think it's, a concept that you can play with a lot and kind of have some fun with it. It does not have mixed media on it, but I had that palette out. That's just an Artist's Loft palette that I got at Michael's. Just this one kind of has shimmer to it. And I was using it for another layout that was up yesterday in the Crafty Maven Getaway. We did a spring cleaning hop, and one of our challenges was to use the color green. So that's what I was working on, and I just loved the way that mixed media came out. So I decided to do it again on this one. And I'm turning this into a 2-page spread because I want to. I have I guess technically I have 4 pictures, and when I was flipping through, I thought that this was a fun sketch design to work with a kid's picture, but I wanted to do both of these pictures together, so I decided to just go ahead and make it a 2-page layout, and I'm just going to sort of carry the design right across the 2 pages. So those are, I guess, my 2 little added extras that I'm putting into the sketch. So here you can see I'm going through all of my papers. I didn't even take them all out. I just kind of flipped through, and anything that was green or black and white or had some gray, anything like that caught my eye, I just went ahead and pulled out. Some of them are full pieces, but not all of them. A lot of them were just, little bits. Like you can see that green piece that's sitting right on top. It's kind of a weird shape, probably because I matted photos, and so I used one side and then used the other. A lot of them you can see, like that stamp one, again, I matted a photo, so there's just a corner out of it. Some of them are cut apart sheets, so there's a pattern on one side and the cut aparts on the other side, so it creates a weird shape if I've cut only certain chunks out. This collection here, the Just Because collection, I did a lot of punching, so a lot of those pieces just have weird shapes punched out of them. And I just thought this was such an easy way to kind of go through and use up a lot of those scraps. So once I cut a bunch of strips, I didn't really have a plan other than I was just going to try to cut 2 banners, one for each side of the layout, and then that little chunk up at the top to kind of do the top border that you see in the sketch as well. So I basically just picked patterns, cut 2 of them, cut the tops off, and then cut my little fishtails on the bottom. And once I kind of started going, I decided that I really liked the grays and just a few little pops of color, and then anything that was kind of green or teal. And you can see my pictures there. So those were printed as 4x6s, but they're actually 2 4x3 pictures on each sheet. And they were really similar in that we were at the playground one day, and so I took kind of a close-up shot of each of the boys and then a shot of them on the play structure. And so I thought I wanted to scrap all 4 of these pictures together, so this was my solution to do a 2-page layout. I try to do at least 1 2-page layout every month. Sometimes that works out really well, sometimes not so much. So I have that one strip that I cut that I actually cut 2 strips because I thought I might use both sides of it. But in the end, I decided that that is the strip that I would use to create the shelf that my photos are going to sit on and that my little banners are going to kind of peek out from underneath. So this is a little bit different than in the sketch. In the sketch, it kind of looks like the banners were all put down and then a strip was maybe put over top and then it was sewn through. But I kind of like the idea of creating a shelf that these pictures can sit on. And I just wanted to have something really neutral because those little tiny pops of color that are in the banners, I just wanted those to kind of be extra bright and extra contrasting. And the photos have a lot of really neutral colors. The playground colors are very neutral. They're kind of the beiges and browns. And then I went with green because all the poles and anywhere that there's a handle or bars for the kids to hold on to, those are all green. So once I had that shelf down, I'm just going to keep calling it a shelf for the rest of the video. Once I had my shelf down, then I just went ahead and picked my banners. I kind of started with the ones that were a little bit bigger. When I was cutting them with my trimmer, I didn't really measure. I just kind of cut. So they're all very random. Some of them are a little bit thicker. Some of them are a little bit thinner. So I started with the ones that were a little bit thicker, and then now I'm just going to fill in all the gaps with the smaller, thinner ones. And this is going to be the left side of the page. So I've just slightly smushed everything over to the center because the sketch everything is kind of centered right in the middle of the background. So I thought I'm going to kind of keep that by having everything just on the left side just squished over to the right a little bit, and on the right page everything will be squished over to the left a little bit. So when you look at them together, they're mostly centered right in the middle. So once I had all my banners down at the bottom, I went ahead and just put a row of tape right across the top, and I'll stick these banners down to that tape. They didn't have to be stuck down really great because I plan on sewing through them. I thought maybe I would tempt sewing with my sewing machine, but in the end I end up hand stitching because I didn't know. Wild Whisper paper, I've sewn on it before, but it is really thick, which is something I love about it. But in the certain little spots where the banners overlap a little bit, not all of them do, but the ones that do, I was just worried that my needle might get stuck. So my sewing machine is not super hefty. It doesn't get used a lot either. I'm not a sewer, so if something goes wrong, I don't really know how to fix it. Okay, so there you can see how I've kind of put everything closer to the center of the full layout rather than just the individual layouts. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm not making sense right now. My brain is total mush after homeschooling and doing all that fun stuff all day long. So now I'm just going to embellish, and so I call my boys Fox and Bear, so you can see I'm putting a fox with fox and a bear with bear. Those ephemera pieces come from the Child at Heart collection, which just is perfect for scrapbooking kids playing at the playground. So I have a couple of little arrows, and then I have the bear and the fox. I was toying with putting that little word playtime, but that doesn't end up making it. And in the original sketch, it just has circles and a couple of clouds. And so I guess I probably could have put clouds, but I kind of liked these ephemera pieces better. I'm just going to go through and try to find anything else that might fit, but I think I just stick with what I have. Pretty simple, not a ton of embellishing because there's so many patterns and so much detail in all of the banners. You don't really need to add a ton of extra. I did add a little bit of flair though. There's a green flare where the fox is, and then a blue flare with a star over on the other side where Sebastian is and the bear. And then I added that title down into the center just to, I guess that's just going to be my title. It just, as I was pulling them out, it kind of looked like one that I could easily cut right through the middle and spread it across the 2 pages. So now I'm just adding a little bit of journaling, just that the boys love to go to this park and play. And then I'm going to use some foam to pop up some of these little banners. Not too many of them. I think I just do 3 on each side. It just gives a little bit more dimension. And since I have one of the pictures popped up, and then I have some of the ephemera kind of popped up where it's lying on across the picture that's popped up. So I thought I might as well put some more dimension down there with the banners. And then there you go. You can see I went ahead and sewed through it. I just used my pokey tool and poked the holes right through and then hand stitched it with some green embroidery floss. And now I'm going to add some sequins. And yes, I'm going for green. So I'm going to do 3 little green ones here in the cluster. And then I'm going to scatter some throughout the banners as well, on the bottom and also on the top. So this was a pretty simple layout for a 2-page layout. All the work was just in cutting the strips and cutting the little banner shapes, but once all of that was done, it came together so quickly, and I really love how it turned out. I'm glad I added some mixed media. It just gave a little bit more interest in that background. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. There is a Wild Whisper discount code down below, DTGen, where you can get 10% off of your purchase if any of these collections caught your eye. And all the links to everybody who is showing their love of sketches today is also down below. So please hop on over and show them some love. Until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.